Hey everybody, I'm Kathryn Rose, founder and CEO of channelWise. channelWise is a platform that provides channel partners access to vetted, been there, done that experts for one-on-one consultations to help them go farther, faster in their business. And today I have the great pleasure of welcoming channelWise expert Irene Chan.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
And full disclosure, Irene is on my team as well as being one of our experts, and she runs our marketing strategy, and she also helps others with that as well. I like to call her our automation guru because she makes sure our marketing is authentic, but as automated as possible. So if there's a tool that helps people do more faster, Irene has tested it. So when the hype started about ChatGPT and AI for writing, Irene had been using tools like this for a long time. So we wanted her to go beyond the hype and tell us the best ways to deploy this technology. So thanks again for being here, Irene.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Actually, I geek out a lot about like AI tools. So yeah, I'm so excited to talk about this, and hopefully people will walk away with actual action items that they can use in their next like marketing strategy or marketing meeting.
Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about why you're so passionate about productivity.
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. And I've been thinking about that a lot, especially during the lockdowns in 2020. And I think it's just kind of embedded in me that I have to be productive because I've always been doing something, which actually is kind of also not like a good thing because you have to rest. So now I kind of understand the balance between, being productive and also resting. And that I realized resting, is part of being productive because if you take the time to rest, then when you come back you'll be more productive. So yeah, I think it's just like the culture of like Filipinos as well. In the Philippines, people praise you when you're productive and you're like doing something, and it just feels good to do something for yourself, for your family, for your clients and for their team. So yeah, that really helps me like feel like I've done something.
Right. And the more productive you are, the more time that you can spend with your family and things, right?
Exactly.
Or as they say, you spend more time on your business rather than in your business, because obviously that's a challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about your affinity, let's just say, for AI tools and how folks out there can start really looking at them. I mean, there's a lot of different like productivity, and now especially all this hype around AI, ChatGPT, and Jasper, and these other ones. So, what's the best way for people to kind of sift through the noise and figure out what the best ones are for them?
Oh, that's a great question. And I always come back to what is your goal in your business? And is a tool going to help you? So it doesn't matter if it's an AI or not, but you got to understand like what's your, like, just even in the marketing, what's our strategy? Is an AI tool going to help us do that faster, better, and cheaper? So because if it doesn't, then it's something that we can like, check it out for a little bit, but we don't have to spend a lot of resources on it as of right now since it doesn't meet our goals. So yeah, with like Chat GPT, for me it's so I actually used to use Jasper, so it's like the most popular tool. I started like playing around with AI for content creation in 2021, and I've been hooked. So, but now I've switched to ChatGPT. Actually, today's perfect actually because I got access to ChatGPT Plus. So I upgraded today for $20 per month. So yeah, and I've upgraded because I use it a lot, to summarize stuff, to brainstorm. So I use it a lot for the different workflows that I have in my day to day as a content creator and marketing project manager. So yeah.
Fantastic. So I think one of the questions always for people is like, is this going to affect my job, or as a content creator or whatever? And I've been saying a lot like, well, we've been sort of using Chat GPT, but we haven't like used AI to actually write it. When you're writing an article that's like, the top 5 ways to drive traffic, there are probably a million articles already written about that. So as a content creator, I'm sure you already, you would go online and see what other people have said and then, add your own little spin. So isn't that very similar to what you're doing with Chat GPT now? It just takes that, you don't have to Google it first.
Yeah, so I think ChatGPT makes everything faster. So like previously you would have to So, and this is a great workflow because I've been a writer since 2011. So my first online gig was, I was an SEO writer. So at that time, actually, it was a dream to have a tool like ChatGPT. Many people tried it, but yeah, like it sucked. So so you'll have to go through many. You have to read through tons of articles before you can actually create an outline, and so reading takes time. And but what ChatGPT does, or like most AI, is that they're already read like 10% of the internet, and will provide the best like outline for you based on the topic. So it makes it faster, but it doesn't mean that like for me, I don't rely on ChatGPT to write the content for me. So I will create like my topic. I might need some help with the outline, but I will decide like the structure of my article, the title, the experiences and examples that I will include. And sometimes, usually, I will get stuck with, the introduction and conclusion. So I might ask some help with that, but it's still my article. I just kind of like leverage the fast response of chat gpt, because when you google it like one by one manually, let's say it will take you 30 minutes, but with chat gpt it will take you less than 30 seconds. So that's
Right.
kind of like the main difference.
Well, and of course you have to put your spin on it. I mean, I personally, when something comes over to me, and not obviously from you or our team, but some of my clients and other clients that we work with, to we do create content for folks with our experts and things like that, right? And so, but when stuff comes over, and I'm like, I feel like you can tell, that
Yes.
like in the article will say like in conclusion, blah, blah, like nobody talks like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
nobody really does that anymore. So I think what I want to stress is, yeah, there's hype, but what it does is it like you said, it just cuts down the time of the initial research, but that doesn't absolve you of going in there, rewriting it, making sure that you're fact checking, because sometimes, like, a friend of mine just posted that he asked ChatGPT to write a bio on him, and he's actually pretty popular, and people know who he is. And it was the information was all wrong about him. So you got to make sure you do that. But one of the things you and I've talked about before is that garbage in, garbage out, right? So talk about, if you're going to use
Mm.
an AI tool, like what kinds of ways can you use it to make sure that it gives you maybe the most accurate information, or B, make it sound more natural, or just some tips and tricks around that.
Oh, yeah, this is a great conversation too that we had previously, because you mentioned that you were not happy with the when you were testing it, you were not happy with the responses. And the first thing that I always tell people, because I do like we do the also trainings for AI trainings with other experts, and what I usually say, AI writing is a skill. So it's like just when you learned how to write, like for me, I learned how to write like from school, and like years of learning how to write for the internet, that took time. So I had to understand, a lot of different nuances and skill building. And it's the same with AI writing. It takes some time and some skills for you to be good at it. And what it all boils down to is your prompts. So how are you ordering ChatGPT or AI so that the result that, or the generation, the text that it generates is what you like. So, if, for example, you can say, write a blog post about productivity. So it will definitely provide you with like a blog post. Let's say it's a 500 words, but you can be very specific. So write a blog post about productivity for solopreneurs in educational and friendly tone. So now you will get a totally different result if you have a very specific prompt like that.
So the
Yes.
more specific you
Yeah,
can be, the better the output from the tool.
exactly. So the output is only as good as your input. So when you are starting to see that the AI is like generating some general stuff, it means that your like your input is generic as well, and you can always regenerate. So the first thing that the AI produces, you can say rewrite. Even in ChatGPT, you can say regenerate, but it will still spit out the same thing if you didn't put like any more context. So you got to play around with with your writing tone. So if you don't know your writing tone, you can actually copy and paste your previous work. So let's say you publish a LinkedIn post or a blog post previously, you copy and paste that and you say, detect the tone of this, and then you paste whatever you wrote. And then now you'll know what your tone is. So actually, I found out my tone is lighthearted and positive and informational. So now I use those keywords when I try to ask ChatGPT to write something for me.
That's very interesting that you can do that. What about if you take someone else's article and you put it in there and say, rewrite this? Will it do that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So I mean, again, I don't think it's necessarily replacing the writer themselves. I mean, nothing, in my opinion. I mean, you've always had these, there are people out there who would write like SEO articles who would, and it's very like generic and it's very, flat or whatever. But if you really want your content to stand out, I think what it does is it helps with the blank page syndrome. Because obviously, one of the things is that they always say, like, for SEO purposes and different kinds of things, it's like create a bunch of content. And there's a lot of pressure on people to do that, especially the small business person, right? Or if you don't have a team like we do, where I could write an article and you can review it for me, that it's a good way to, to utilize those tools to make sure that, in other tools that you use are like Grammarly, right? You use, talk a little bit about some of the other tools that you use.
Sure. So actually, I use AI tools in not just in content creation, but in many ways. So my favorite is Tactic. So Tactic it's actually a real time transcription tool for like Google Meet, Zoom, but now they've integrated GPT-3, which is the technology under ChatGPT, into their system so that you can generate AI summaries of the transcript. So, and I think I shared this with you. Like, I have like great meetings with Kathryn where we brainstorm stuff. But sometimes it can be hard to like remember everything. So with the AI tool, I just like click generate summary and then generate action items. So it will actually like list all of the potential action items that Kathryn like said, and then the action items from me. It is like eerily accurate. So sometimes you'll have to like X out stuff that you actually don't mean to have that as an action item, but most of the time it's 80% accurate. So all I have to do is like transfer the task into Notion. So that's one of my favorite tools because it's also frees me up to take notes manually during the call, and I can focus on the discussion. And then I'll just have to look back, and I have the full transcript, but it's easy to see it with like the AI summary and like the action items. Makes it a lot faster. There's also this tool. We use it like in our, like, for example, we're gonna turn this tool into we're gonna turn this video into a transcript. We'll use Temi.com. So it's like a much more straightforward. It's just basically turning audio into text, but
Right.
it's AI doing it, not a person. So and it's cheap too, like 25 cents per minute. So I love it. I love that tool. And I also use a missing letter, which like automates scheduling your blog post. So you can turn your blog post into like a 12 social media posts automatically, and then you can schedule it in advance. So you'll have to edit it a little bit so that you can get the right images and the right caption. But like it's cuts down the time like by 80% manually going through creating caption and everything. But so yeah, those are like my favorite tools right now because those are the workflows that I do every day, and I need like a lot of time to be saved in those areas.
Right. So I think it's like anything that, really kind of just cuts down the time is where, everybody wants to be. It doesn't make your service less valuable, right? It just means
Yes.
that, because I mean, there's always things that you can automate, and unless you take full advantage of them, you still have to have a human intervention at some point, to make it sound like it's from you, right? And also, I think the other thing I wanted to ask you too about the AI, I mean, are there other things, because there's been a lot of talk, of course, about ChatGPT in particular. Are there other things you can use ChatGPT for besides just creating content?
Yes, so you can actually write code. I haven't tried it because I didn't really have a need to code, but you can use simple HTML, CSS, I think even maybe C++, I don't know, like the languages in programming, but it can create basic programming. But just like creating content, you'll have a developer need to edit it. But it also like cuts down a lot of the, the time that it takes to create simple codes. Like for me, previously, I learned using WordPress, so I used to go there like manually editing CSS like
Yeah.
crazy because I wanted to have some fancy thing added to my blog. Now you can do that easily with ChatGPT. So you can also create travel itineraries. A family member tried to do that, like she was trying to create a travel itinerary for Paris. I also tried it like with very specific kind of. I was trying to see if I could replace a SEO tool with ChatGPT, like what are the most popular topics under this, arrange it in the like most traffic and display it on a table. You can actually tell ChatGPT how to display data, so like display it in bullet points, display it in a table. So yeah, like the use case is actually limit, like there's no limit, it's up to your workflow creativity. I actually use it too to create a birthday invitation poem because we had a
Yes.
unicorn pajama party for my daughter. I was like, I want to create some fun poems for this. So yeah, I did that too. So it was pretty fun.
So it sounds like it's a lot of fun to like kind of play with, but like any tool, right? You have to make
Yeah.
sure that you're playing with it. And of course, like everything, eventually, people kind of catch on. So I think that again, it's very important to use these tools for productivity, workflows, all those kinds of things, and that's what they're there for. But at the end of the day, the human touch, the human element doesn't necessarily disappear, right? But thank you. What are the main things you want people to walk away from this conversation? Some specific action items you'd like them to walk away with today.
Yeah, that's really great question. And it's something, I guess it's because I've had many people come to me and like, what can I do about Chat GPT? Should I learn it? And so it's just like such a vast question. And again, and whether you're an individual or a corporation or like a marketer, so again, what's your goal? So for me, my goal was to make my writing faster at that time because I was transitioning into a full-time freelancer, and I was like, how can I cut down the time that I'm spending writing so that I can gain back the time? I don't even need to like increase my revenue. I just wanted to make the same amount of money if I can, but like cut that in half. And I was able to achieve that at that time I was using Jasper because they have really great workflows that help me like with the outlines and everything. So, and what you said earlier, by the way, about the writer's block, that really helps me a lot because I have anxiety, and most of the time I actually spend more time worrying about the article than actually writing it. That like completely disappeared, and now I'm even more confident, even if I'm not using AI. That's like something, oh wow, I don't have writer's block anymore. I can just like write, and then if I get stuck, then I can have an AI help me. So yeah, so again, so that was my goal, and that's how I learned it. And now I have kind of I guess mastered using AI for writing. So now I'm exploring other areas where I can save time. And as a project manager, like a lot of the having those strategy calls, like I need to absorb it after the call, and having that transcript with like a summaries, it's such a huge time saver because now my brain power is focused on like absorbing the strategy and like taking that into an action item instead of kind of like finding out control F control F in the transcript. So yeah, so it's like kind of just transferring the brain power into more of like strategy and like picking the right things that the AI prepared for you. So yeah, think about your workflows. So whether you're a company, like what are your workflows right now for your team? Is there a workflow that can speed up that AI can speed up so that your entire team is faster and they have a better experience because a lot of the manual tasks has been removed. And the same thing for individual, like what what's your, if you're going to have like a goal for revenue, increasing your revenue, like what are the AI tools that could potentially help you do that? And sometimes that's AI is not the answer, so that's why you have to find something else. And that process of elimination based on your goals and like your guardrails, and also your budget too, because you have to pay for the AI tools. So that's just kind of like a lot of the criteria that will help you decide which AI tool, and then how you're going to use it, how often you're going to use it, and those little information add up and can help you make a decision. Yeah, to integrate AI into your everyday workflows.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for joining us today. Thanks everybody out there for watching. All those tools that Irene mentioned will go into the on the comments on the post. Thank you again for joining us, Irene. If you want to get deeper advice on this topic, head over to Irene's profile on channelWise.com. The link will be put into the post. If you have any other questions, we have so many other experts on the ChannelWise platform, all ready to help you or your partners go farther, faster in their business. Thanks again, Irene, and until next time, everyone.